The Newsreader is an Australian show that depicts the struggles and tribulations of an Australian newsroom in 1986. At the centre of it all is Helen Norville, the star newsreader, proving her mettle as a woman in that environment. Earlier I spoke with actor Anna Torv, who plays the character, and one of the things that struck me about the show was the visual references to the 80s, all that big hair and hairspray. Here's what she had to say.
John Logue, who was our hair and makeup, used to, but he actually used to do hair and makeup for the news in the 80s too. So he knew with all of these different references, and yeah, it was fun.
Let's talk about your character, Helen Norville. I find myself wanting her to do well. She's likeable, but she's not perfect, is she?
No, she's not. But who is?
But that's why she's likeable. I think you have to understand her in the world that she's living in. You know, she has to be strong to survive.
I think that's sweet that you say she's likeable because, you know, you want her to be, I wanted her to be watchable. That's, you know, the goal. But then I think, you know, you do end up liking her because you have the benefit of Dale, who does love her as a person and understands her. And so she, you know, I think that he allows her to kind of be a lot and forgiven for a lot.
What experiences did you draw from for your knowledge of the newsroom? Was it people you talked to or personal experience?
No, I mean, I watched a ton of stuff. I mean, like, I remember this period, like during this time, you know, when I was a kid, it was also, you know, we only had 2 or 3 stations back then. And so you'd sit down and you'd watch the news and you'd comment on what they were wearing and you'd comment on the hair. It was like they were in your living room in a different way than I think it is today. And so I did do a deep dive into some of the more prominent newsreaders of the era, and, you know, just watched a lot of stuff, but then got to talk. So one of the women I was just talking about came in to do we did a few sessions on auto cue, which I'd never done, and news reading. I mean, it's so different. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, but you, as an actor, you spend so much of your time trying to totally ignore and pretend that the camera's there, to then be having to go straight down the barrel. I was like, it's very confronting. And so I did quite a lot of prep for that because it was confronting. But and I'd never done auto cue, but we got to use the auto cue for all of those scenes. I had said, can we please do it for real? Because I think it changes. Yeah, I mean, to fake that, I think would have been really tough.
For me, it resonated on a lot of levels, and I can only imagine that's why it's been so incredibly popular in Australia. It's the walk down memory lane in terms of 80s fashion, revisiting real news events and the meaty issues of the time. Do you think that's why it's had such widespread appeal to so many people?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it also, what I think Emma Freeman, who directed the whole series, did so beautifully, is that I don't feel like it's a period piece. I feel like you feel like you're watching something of the 80s. So there isn't a comment on it, and I think that's kind of what makes it. We don't laugh at it. We laugh at ourselves in it, but we're not laughing at it. The issues that we kind of talk about, it's just presented. Whereas if you put a modern gaze on it, or if you know, hammer people over the head with, you know, like what we're trying to say, I think then it would have felt cheap. And I don't think it does. I think it doesn't. Yeah, I'm really proud of that element of it.
And we were sent pictures for promotion of the series, and you're doing some newsreader poses in the pictures. And I thought, oh my gosh, we still pose like that. So I wanted to show you a few old pictures, some newsreader pictures of myself and of our newsreader here on AM, the legendary Bernardine Oliver-Kerby. So here's first an oldie of me.
It's the classic cross arm, yeah. But you're smiling. You're clearly going to do like something a little more entertaining. You're not going to cover the walls up there.
And here is a shot from earlier newsreading days with our Bern. What do you think?
Isn't it brilliant? But it's the pose, it's the colours, it's like but that was one of the that was one of the harder things to kind of do, to kind of just own it. Like, this is how we're doing it.
Okay, and Anna, I've got one more. She's a former sports presenter here on 3. And when I first heard about Newsreader, everyone was talking about the uncanny similarity between Michelle Pickles and your character, Helen Norville. What do you think?
That totally is. That's crazy. That makes me really happy because we had lots of conversations about my hair and I didn't want to go. I just finished doing a show where my hair was really short and I'm like, I just don't want it to be really short. Like, can it be a little bit longer? They're like, it wasn't that long. I'm like, I think it is. And so that's just vindication.
I've just got to ask one more question before you go, because our viewers will want to know about another TV series you're in, Mindhunter. If you were asked, would you be keen to do another series?
Oh, of course. I don't think anyone would say no. Like the show, it was a fantastic show and we all, got along and it was incredibly, mentally stimulating and, of course. Anyway, yes, of course.
Anna, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate being able to speak with you this morning. Thanks for joining AM.